Pain doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It hides behind your smile, your routine, your scrolling thumb. You think you're fine until one day you wake up wondering why everything feels heavy. The truth? It's not life that's unbearable. It's the quiet poison you keep tolerating. And today, we're cutting it out, quietly but completely. Let's start with the first one. People who drain you. You know exactly who I mean. The ones who only remember you when they're falling apart, but vanish when you're the one bleeding. They come with their chaos, dump it at your door, and somehow make you apologize for not cleaning it up fast enough. You don't need to announce your exit or write them a goodbye essay. Just fade out. No explanations, like deleting an old photo that no longer sparks joy. Because energy vampires don't just steal your time, they train you to think crumbs are a meal. Second, that someday mentality. Someday I'll start. Someday I'll move. Someday I'll try. But someday is the graveyard where your potential goes to die. Most dreams aren't murdered. They're left to starve while waiting for perfect timing. The people who win in life, they start ugly. They post the video with shaky audio. They write the book with typos. Because perfection is just fear wearing makeup. So, what's one thing you've been delaying? Drop it in the comments. Then take one tiny step toward it before the day ends. Third, the addiction to explaining yourself. Why do you keep trying to justify your choices to people who don't even clap when you win? You owe no one an explanation for protecting your peace. You cut your hair, switched jobs, or stopped hanging out with people who gossip like it's a sport? Good. You don't need permission slips for self-respect. Remember, the more you explain, the more power you hand away. Fourth, the comparison trap. You're scrolling through Instagram and suddenly your life feels like a black and white photo next to everyone else's highlight reel. Stop doing that to yourself. Most of what you're jealous of is photoshopped happiness. Someone's beach picture doesn't show their overdraft alert. Someone's power couple post doesn't show the argument they had before hitting upload. Unfollow, mute, breathe. Your journey is unfolding at its own rhythm, and no one's timeline should rush yours. 5. Your victim mindset. I know, life hits you hard. Maybe it still does. But if you keep narrating your life as if you're cursed, don't be surprised when it starts to sound like prophecy. Take a lesson from Oprah Winfrey. She grew up facing abuse, poverty, and rejection that would break most people, but she refused to wear victimhood as identity. She turned her pain into a platform. That's what growth looks like. So stop rehearsing your sad story and start rewriting it as a comeback. You're not broken. You're in editing mode. 6. Pointless arguments. You don't need to win every debate. You don't even need to join most of them. Someone thinks the world is ending next week? Cool. Someone insists pineapple on pizza is a crime against nature? Let them live in their tragedy. Every time you argue to prove your intelligence, you trade peace for pride. Learn to let silence do the talking. It never loses an argument. 7. Clutter. Not just the pile of clothes in the corner, though that's a start. I'm talking about mental clutter. The notifications, the noise, the endless tabs open in your brain, the constant ding that turns your mind into a circus. Try deleting what doesn't add value. Digital, emotional, even social clutter. Because clarity doesn't come from adding more, it comes from subtracting what distracts. Your brain can't focus on the future if it's tripping over yesterday's junk. 8. Fake urgency. You don't need to reply to every message in 10 seconds. You're not emergency services. The world won't collapse if you take a breath before answering. Somewhere along the way, people trained us to be permanently available. Stop it. If it's not life or death, it can wait. The moment you stop reacting to every ping, your mind starts healing. And if anyone complains that you're hard to reach, good. You're finally valuing your peace. 9. Overthinking. Some of you can turn the simplest decision into a mental marathon. You replay conversations, overanalyze texts, imagine worst-case scenarios that never happen. Overthinking doesn't make you smarter, it just makes you tired. Try this. When faced with a choice, give yourself 30 seconds. Decide, act, move on. It's how soldiers make decisions in the field. They don't have time to build flowcharts. The truth is, most of your what-ifs are just fear in a lab coat pretending to be logic. 10. People-pleasing, the disease of yes. You say yes when you want to scream no. You smile when you're exhausted. You show up for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. That's not kindness, that's slow suicide. Every time you betray yourself to make others comfortable, you confirm that your feelings don't matter. Start saying no without guilt. The people who truly value you will adjust. The rest will expose themselves. And that's a blessing, not a loss. Now breathe, because what we're really doing here isn't just elimination, it's liberation. You're peeling away the false layers so the real you can finally breathe again. Let's recap. Quietly but firmly. You're letting go of energy drainers, the someday mentality, the urge to explain yourself, the comparison trap, the victim story, pointless arguments, clutter, fake urgency, overthinking, and people-pleasing. 10 habits, 10 exits from a life that feels like drowning. Here's what happens when you start cutting these things. You begin to see clearly. Your confidence doesn't need noise anymore, your focus sharpens, and your peace becomes unshakable. Because life isn't about collecting more, it's about protecting less. Think about it. Every toxic habit, every fake friend, every mental mess you hold on to, it all charges rent in your head. And that rent, it's paid in your energy, your sleep, your joy. The richest people aren't those who have the most, they're the ones who protect what matters. Look at someone like Steve Jobs. Before his death, he said something chilling. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters. Even he realized, too late, that peace and purpose outweigh everything else. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing from that list and quietly eliminate it today. Not tomorrow, not after watching 3 more self-help videos. Today. Tell me in the comments which one you're starting with. I want to see who's serious about real change. Because once you start cutting the right things, your life won't just get lighter, it'll get louder in the best way. And if this hits you somewhere deep, don't just scroll away. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs a wake-up call, and join the tribe of people who are choosing peace over noise. Your transformation doesn't begin when you add something new. It begins when you finally have the courage to subtract. Because a sword isn't powerful because of what was added to it. It's powerful because of what was carved away. So carve, quietly, ruthlessly, and watch how your life starts to shine again.